everybody's talking at me.
CRN Digital Talk Radio. Chuck Wilder here with the original Talkback, and Paul Stern up there near the Hollywood Hills at the network. We're live across America on this radio station or cable system and around the world at crntalk.com. So many ways to get us. Today's guest, Kristen Hansen, National Issue Campaign Manager for Americans for Prosperity, will be discussing the damaging effects of the medical device tax. Orrin Hudson, former law enforcement officer, and he is founder of Be Someone Incorporated, and he's touring the country to work with youth, parents, police departments, organizations, schools, to both educate and try to stop the nonsense. Alex Newman in the second hour, regular contributor to The New American, co-author of the book just out today, Crimes of the Educators, and we're going to be talking about one of his latest articles, Exploding Smart Meters, Spy on Your Water Use. Well, in the news, the man who was riding in the car with Walter Scott during the traffic stop that went awry and ultimately led to Scott's death has broken his silence. He says, Walter was a dear friend of mine. I miss him every day. Pereira Fulton said in a statement through his lawyer, over the past 5 years, he helped me to become a better man, showed me the value of hard work. Fulton can be seen sitting next to Scott in the dashboard camera footage that now shows fired patrolman Michael Slager pulled over and questioned Scott. I'll never know why he ran, but I know he didn't deserve to die, Fulton said in his statement. And please keep Walter and his family in your prayers and respect my privacy moving forward. Meanwhile, there are calls for new charges, not against Slager, but other police who were on the scene. CBS News reports critics claim the officers didn't do enough to save Scott's life. Part of the cell phone video shows an officer who responded to the scene helping Scott, but no chest compressions are seen. However, according to the New York Times, that officer wrote in a 2-sentence report about the shooting that he attempted to render aid to the victim by applying pressure to the gunshot wounds. Slager, who has been charged with murder, has not yet entered a plea. Russia's announcement yesterday that it will proceed with the sale of advanced missile systems to Iran crosses a so-called red line that was established by the Obama administration back in 2010. Following years of dissent from the United States, Russia announced yesterday that it would proceed with the sale of the advanced S-300 air defense missile systems to Iran, which have been vying to purchase the hardware for years. The announcement sparked criticism from the Obama administration, which has been pressuring Iran since at least 2010 to withhold the sales. Wow, here it is. The Defense Department, they say the Bible, Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, all perpetrate sexism. According to the Defense Department, approved sexism course, the Bible, the U.S. Constitution, and the Declaration of Independence all contribute to modern sexism. Those three cherished texts all count as historical influences that allow sexism to continue, according to the presentation prepared by the Defense Equal Opportunity Management Institute. According to the course, they say the Bible has quotes which can be interpreted as sexist by the readers. The Declaration of Independence, also an historical case of sexism. You know, the document refers to all men, not men and women. Well, and we talked about that one, you know, the Oscar stupid statement there, one of the winners, said, well, it doesn't say men and women, it just says all men. Well, it doesn't say men, women, transsexuals, and unsure either, does it? And the Constitution, the Pentagon argues, is a historical source of sexism because slaves and women were not included until later in history. Of course, you know, members of the armed forces take an oath, to defend the Constitution. So now, according to this course, it's a historical influence that allows sexism to continue. See, another way the progressives and this commander-in-chief, I guess, decides he doesn't want the armed forces taking an oath to defend the Constitution. And I'm sure the primary thing on his mind would be, I am the Commander-in-Chief, so why do I have to take an oath on the Constitution? The content of the lesson, by the way, is provided to generate academic discussions concerning how these historical documents have been included in discussions about the toxics of a topic, that is, of sexism. Lieutenant Commander Nate Christensen, he's a Defense Department spokesman. Christensen. Get that? Yeah. But following the DC's request for comment, guess what? The sexism course, as well as 2 other courses listed on the website entitled Prejudice and Discrimination and Racism, they were taken offline. Apparently, I guess they thought, the news on the right wasn't going to find out about it. And they say, this course is currently offline and under revision. That's a notice. Boy, I'll tell you. There are hospital doors that are half built at a Veterans Affairs Medical Center outside Denver. They were supposed to cost $100 each, but guess what? They ended up costing $1,400 apiece. There's a $100 million and still rising price tag for a concourse with curving blonde wood walls, towering glass windows. An entire room had to be refashioned because requests for medical equipment changed at the last minute, and in other cases, that equipment didn't fit. No one had bothered to measure. Not even completed yet, this $1.7 billion, that's with a B, $1.7 billion facility is already among the most expensive hospitals in the world, and it's just one of several VA hospital projects that are greatly over budget and behind schedule. This, according to the Government Accountability Office, and that's the investigative arm of Congress. Everything that could have gone wrong did. It's just an astounding price tag, said David Wise, who wrote in the GAO report about the Aurora project and the VA construction problems in Orlando, Las Vegas, and New Orleans. The hospital construction woes are the latest in a long line of troubles that the Department of Veterans Affairs faces, from accusations of retaliation against whistleblowers to a backlog of compensation benefits to reports that wait times for appointments in some parts of the country still haven't improved. Wait time ranging from 30 days to more than 6 months. And this official at the U.S. Office of Special Counsel said yesterday, Department of Veteran Affairs officials are known to be retaliating against the VA whistleblowers by illegally going through their medical records to harass them and discredit them with whistleblowers, these whistleblowers. In the surprising testimony from Special Counsel Carolyn Lerner, it was delivered at a House Veterans Affairs Subcommittee hearing. In Lerner's prepared testimony, she explained that many VA officials who try to reveal these problems are veterans themselves who are seeking care at the VA. She said in some cases VA officials try to retaliate by examining the medical records of these officials. Several cases, the records of the whistleblowers have been accessed, and information in these records has apparently been used to attempt to discredit them, she said. Oh, boy. And one other note, an Air Force veteran says he was repeatedly put on hold by the Veteran Suicide Hotline as he was forced to listen to machine recordings and get redirected as he sat there desperately needing someone to talk to last Saturday night. Ted Coran says the only reason he's still alive today is because of the 60 rescue animals he cares for. This from WFTS. The Air Force veteran first reached out to the James Valley VA Center in Tampa, where a recording told him to hit the 800 number for the suicide hotline. He was put on hold for 10 minutes before hanging up, redialing the number 2 more times. Said, I went to the only place I knew that I had available to me. I had to sit there patiently in emotional distress and tears, waiting to give up, desperately needing someone to talk to. He said, his wife Karen, who he and her adopted these 60 rescue animals, She died of cancer 6 months ago, and his depression on Saturday evening sank him to the point that he was considering taking his own life. He said it took several attempts to get a real person on the suicide hotline after he repeatedly was put on hold, and even then, the counselor was of little comfort to him. Vice President Joe Biden, are you ready? Says he has not made a decision on whether he will run for president, and sounded the alarm about Republican plans to cut estate taxes. Biden made the statement in a roundtable discussion with reporters at the White House yesterday. This was after the Secretary of State Hillary Clinton announced her run. He said he has plenty of time to decide. I haven't made up my mind on that. I have plenty of time to do that in my view. That's what he said. Did you know the California Assembly passed a bill last Thursday that would make the state the first in the nation to allow non-citizens who are in the country illegally to serve on jury duty? Assemblyman Bob Wysocki. What do you take a guess? Is it an R after his name as in Republican? Is it an I as in independent? Or is it what you think it might be, a D? Yes, Democratic Assemblyman Bob there said his bill, AB 1401, would help California widen the pool of prospective jurors and help integrate immigrants into the community. It does not change other criteria for being eligible to serve on a jury, such as being at least 18, living in the country that is making the summons, and being proficient in English. Now, the bill passed 45 to 25, as all of them do in California, because it's a party line vote in the Democratic-controlled Assembly. One Democrat, Assemblyman Adam Gray, voted no. Adam Gray. All right? And some of the other Democrats, they said, we're not going to vote. We don't want to be going on record here. Democrat lawmakers who voted for the bill said there is no correlation between being a citizen and a juror. And they noted that there is no citizenship requirement to be an attorney or a judge. Attorney, I think, just recently. Well, Republican lawmakers who opposed his bill called it misguided, premature. $753 million federal agreements approved by unqualified officials. The Department of Transportation officials say 1 out of every 4 issued nearly $753.7 million in contracts, though they lack certifications that they had either the authority or the training to do. The uncertified officials was worth the effort. And by the way, the Colorado babies born alive after failed abortions. The Democrats on the Colorado State House panel defeated a pro-life bill to ensure that babies who survive failed abortions receive appropriate Medicare and protection. Wow. All right, we're going to take a break, and we shall continue. Christian Hansen coming up next.
Need a great tractor to help with your chores? Get a Kubota BX Series subcompact tractor with financing as low as 0% APR for up to 5 years during our More Power to You sales event. 0 down, 0% APR financing for terms up to 60 months on select equipment now through June 30th, 2015. Not available for rental, national accounts, governmental customers, or with some customer instant rebate offers. Financing through Kubota Credit Corporation USA, subject to credit approval. Other exceptions may apply. For more information, call toll-free 1-888-465-8268. For more information or to find a participating dealer, visit Kubota.com.
I'm Jay Farner with some great news on how you could save an average of $3,000 per year on your mortgage. Call Quicken Loans now at 800-QUICKEN to see if you qualify for the government's Home Affordable Refinance Program, or HARP. The HARP guidelines have changed. There's less paperwork and often no appraisal required. Call 800-QUICKEN. That's 800-QUICKEN, or visit QuickenLoans.com.
Important terms and conditions apply. Call us for cost information. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
You're experiencing pain, back pain, shoulder, elbow, or hand pain, pain from a sports injury. If so, schedule a visit with Dr. Michael Sheps, the leading expert in laser therapy for pain management. Call 310-873-4422 or go to drsheps.com. Experience Epic T, the breakthrough laser therapy system that Dr. Sheps developed to make you pain-free in less time. Laser therapy is a non-invasive, safe, and effective in-office procedure that penetrates deep into your skin without damaging the tissue. It perfectly targets areas of pain to promote fast, natural healing. Relax your muscles, ease muscle spasms, joint stiffness, and arthritis pain while increasing blood circulation. For over 25 years, Dr. Sheps has helped Olympic athletes and sports enthusiasts alike get back in the game. Schedule your visit with Dr. Sheps at his Brentwood office in California. Call 310-873-4422 or visit drsheps.com. That's DRSHEPS.com, 310-873-4422.
Hi, I'm Dr. Bob Marshall, PhD, host of Healthline. Join me live to get your questions answered and hear the latest breakthrough information for you and your family. This month, our Dragon Cleanse LX is on special. This has been studied for its extraordinary ability to bind a wide variety of toxins in the gastrointestinal tract, especially those that have dicarbonyl chemical structures or that bind to calcium-dependent binding sites. Research suggests it doesn't bind beneficial nutrients because of its unique structure. With the ever-increasing amount of toxins in our food and our environment, here's a practical, inexpensive way to mitigate the problem. Buy 2 bottles and get the third one free. Call 800-370-3447. That's 800-370-3447.
Listen to Helpline daily at 2:30 p.m. Pacific, 5:30 p.m. Eastern on CRN.
Everybody's talking at me.
Wilder, CRN Digital Talk Radio. Let me tell you about my guest, Christine Harbin Hansen. She is a national issue manager for America for Prosperity. Prior to joining AFP, she held roles at American Legislative Exchange Council and Show Me Institute, free market think tank in St. Louis, Missouri. She holds a bachelor's degree in economics, mathematics, and French from the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and an MBA from the University of Wisconsin. Christine, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Hey, Chuck. Thanks for having me.
Hey, glad you're here. You know, tomorrow is that big day, tax day, April 15th, and boy, they just look for so many ways to grab our money. And on January 1st, I'll set this up right, January 1st, 2013, Obamacare implemented a 2.3 tax. Remember when it's not going to be a tax, you can keep your doctor, you can keep, yes, a 2.3% tax on medical devices. And the measure's been met with opposition from both Republican and Democratic politicians, but those affected the most are Americans all across the country. There was a video you guys released, Americans for Prosperity, and a recipient of a pacemaker, and he speaks about the medical device. And I want you, the listener, not until our program's off the air, but go to AmericansForProsperity.org and check out that video. And in the video, he says, the government doesn't need more ways to tax us. They need to find ways to cut wasteful spending. Oh, well, don't hold your breath on that, right?
Well, tax issues certainly are dominating this week in Congress. We see in the House side that they're considering a number of important tax issues. Most of them are reining in the IRS. But one of the items that we haven't heard very much about is actually on this issue. It's about repealing the medical device tax, which has really been one of the more harmful parts of the president's health care law. And it has a big impact on small businesses.
Christine, when this first came up, the medical device tax, do you recall how many people on their side, and I'm going to talk about the progressives, oh, no, they're not going to they're not going to put taxes on things like wheelchairs and heart no, you've got to be kidding. But lo and behold, there it is. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I think that's a very good reminder. It really highlights how there are a lot of promises from President Obama and his allies in Congress about the health care law. But what we've seen over the course of implementation, ever since the president signed this law, signed this bill into law, we've seen a number of these promises just, fail to deliver. One of those is how this tax on medical devices has actually ended up hurting medical innovation and makes it more expensive for people to get the latest and greatest healthcare products, the things that they need. And it's been very harmful. One thing I'd like to highlight, too, is how
I have a...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was going to say another thing, and we might be on the same page here, is the loss of jobs. Am I reading your mind by any chance there?
You certainly are. I think we're on the same page when it comes to job loss.
Yeah, okay. Absolutely. I can't believe this. Well, first off, yeah, go ahead.
One of the problems when it comes to job losses is that this tax is actually on income. It's not on profits. So it's really harmful for small medical device manufacturers because in order to pay for this tax, many of them have to lay off workers, or many of them have to stop research and development. So this is really harmful for the overall economy.
Yeah, and I saw this report, Christine, and we're coming up on a break here, just kind of give you a heads up. There was a survey of 100 executives by the Medical Device Manufacturers Association, and they found that 3/4 of companies, these are the guys that are making these medical devices, slowed or halted hiring to pay the new tax. Boy, job creation. Christine Hansen, National Issue Campaign Manager for Americans for Prosperity. We're going to talk more about the damaging effects of the medical device tax. And there's a lot of people that want to get it repealed. We'll talk about that when we come back. The website, AmericansForProsperity.org. That's Americans with an S for Prosperity.org.
This is the Mike Huckabee Report for Tuesday. I'm Mike Huckabee. Today, all the news that never was really news. Details next. Looking forward to your tax refund? Well, so are identity thieves who steal refunds by filing fraudulent tax returns. Last year alone, they stole more than an estimated $5 billion from hardworking Americans just like you. Once an identity thief gets a hold of your tax forms, watch out. They know that virtually all the information they need to steal your identity and even your life savings is right there. Help protect yourself with LifeLock Ultimate Plus. LifeLock Ultimate Plus provides protection for your Social Security number, bank accounts, investments, even the equity in your home. And while no one can stop all identity theft and nobody can monitor every single business, LifeLock Ultimate Plus provides their most comprehensive identity theft protection available. If you're filing taxes this year, especially if you're filing online, do what I did and get LifeLock Ultimate Plus. Visit LifeLock.com/Huckabee now or call and use promo code Huckabee to save 10% on your LifeLock Ultimate Plus membership. Call 1-800-240-LOCK, 800-240-LOCK, 800-240-LOCK. My best-selling book, God, Guns, Grits, and Gravy, in the bookstores and available online. Get your copy today. I seem to spend more time reporting retractions than talking about news that really did happen. From Hands Up, Don't Shoot to the Rolling Stone gang rape tale and more, Stories pop up, spark outrage, then prove to be totally fake. Just this past weekend, Politico claimed that Rand Paul stormed out of a CNN interview and turned the lights out on the reporter. Video showed that he left because he had another interview, and CNN shut off the lights. The New York Times accused the NRA of hypocrisy for demanding that all the guns at their convention have their firing pins removed. Not true, and retracted. Then Bloomberg News reported that Nancy Reagan had endorsed Hillary Clinton. That came from a parody website. The one thing in common, liberal reporters wanted so much to believe them that they reported those stories unquestionably. They need to learn the fatal flaw of liberalism. Wishing doesn't make things true. Speaking of the NRA convention in Nashville, I was there on Friday, not just to give a speech, but on a more pressing mission. I had to buy my wife Janet a birthday present. Last year I promised to get her a small pistol for self-defense, but she couldn't decide on the model. We both have concealed carry permits, but she wanted something easier to actually conceal. Most were too bulky for concealed carry, so what better place to do some hands-on shopping than the NRA convention? For the record, yes, Janet finally found one she liked, and I had to pull out the plastic. To those who argue that being armed doesn't make you safer, I'd say that I think my wife is now much safer, just from me announcing that she's armed. Amid all the depressing news, it's nice to be able to report not just one, but two miracles. When Sharista Giles of Tennessee was 4 months pregnant in December, she was left in a coma after a car crash. Doctors gave up hope, but her family didn't. In January, her baby son was born prematurely and weighed only 1 pound. But to the amazement of her doctors, Sharista suddenly awoke from her coma. She can't talk yet, but she is able to look at a photo and convey that she recognized who it was, her own baby son, now a healthy 6 pounds 4 ounces, both of them with full lives ahead of them. And finally, tourists in Tokyo might be alarmed if they look up and see the new tourism ambassador for the Shinjuku Shopping and Entertainment District. It's Godzilla. Visitors now greeted by a 40-foot-tall sculpture of the giant lizard's head peering over one of the tall buildings. Every so often it lets out a loud cry and breathes fire. A spokesman said that while Godzilla may be most famous for crushing anything that gets in its way, they hope this image change will help him be seen as contributing to business prosperity. If it works, these guys ought to apply for a job with Hillary Clinton's campaign. And this is the Mike Huckabee Report.
Everybody's talking at me.
CRN, Chuck Wilder here with my guest, Christine Henson, National Issue Campaign Manager for Americans for Prosperity, and we are talking about the damaging effects of the medical device tax. And to give you an example, Advanced Medical Technology Association warned that the tax will cost the country as many as 39,000 jobs. And there's, I guess, the biggest winners in the lobbying world under the controlled Congress. They are pledging to repeal the tax, but then I guess King Obama's threatened to veto a bill in case the Republicans overturn this tax.
Well, I think that's the reason why we haven't seen much movement on repealing the medical device tax. Really, the president has been unwilling to make any changes to his health care law that didn't extend and expand its reach. This is really concerning from our perspective here at Americans for Prosperity because repealing the medical device tax is one of the few areas in Washington where we've seen a bipartisan consensus. We see a lot of support, we see some support among Democratic members of Congress for repealing this tax. As well as among, of course, on the Republican side. So this is one of those items that Congress can do in the short term to make American families' lives better. And we've been calling on them very loudly to do so.
Christine, there was another report, and they mentioned, I think, of Warsaw, Indiana. And I guess it's Warsaw is known as the orthopedic capital of the world. And they're really putting their 2 cents, well, it's a nickel now, their nickel into this whole controversy regarding Obamacare and its new tax on medical devices. Let's see if I can find this one here. They said, I wish to state the reasons for overwhelming calls by a wide range of lawmakers to repeal the medical device. And the New York Times boldly proclaimed, this was back in January 30th, there was no case for eliminating the medical device tax. Why is it that those on the left and the mainstream media just go along with whatever? Do these guys think it's never going to affect them?
Well, I do think there is unfortunately a lot of miscommunication when it comes out about the president's health care law, because, there's a lot of people hoping that this will result in better health care for Americans. But unfortunately, and we've seen, ever since the president signed it into law, that many of these promises just haven't turned out. And I think that's what's going on here. Even though reasonable people can agree that the 2.3% tax on medical devices is harmful for healthcare quality, harmful for job creation and medical innovation here. There are unfortunately too few people who are willing to admit that. And we would love to see more support for this on Capitol Hill.
Well, I'll tell you something. There's always, new taxes. Like I think you said it right at the beginning of the interview. They're always looking for new ways to tax us, and in fact, I guess it's going to be the end of this week. Going to be talking about their latest plan is now they're going to start taxing your savings account. And I'm not making this up either. It's all the time. There's something right around the corner. And reports say that, given the baby boomer population, doesn't take a rocket scientist to make the bold prediction that demand for medical devices will grow. They're not going to decline. And also, we can be fairly certain that some new jobs will accompany this growth. And, of course, the problem is these companies can always move to Europe, Asia, Mexico, Canada, like so many do.
Right. This is the most concerning thing is that, we're facing so many problems here in the economy. And what the government should be doing is creating a low level playing field that really doesn't benefit any of the players. But unfortunately, they're doing quite the opposite. They're increasing taxes and doing a number of concerning things.
Hey, listen, all out of time. I certainly appreciate your visit today. Christine Hansen, National Issue Campaign Manager, Americans for Prosperity. And if they want to keep up to date on this medical device tax, I guess they can go to AmericansForProsperity.org, and you guys are going to stay on top of it, right?
We sure are. Thanks so much
for
having me on.
Hey, I appreciate it. We'll do it again. Americans with an S for Prosperity.org. Right now, I want to go to Orrin Hudson. He is a former law enforcement officer and founder of Be Someone Incorporated. Be Someone Incorporated, an organization focused on teaching young people, many of them at-risk youngsters, the principles of success and personal responsibility. And he says using the game of chess. I'm going to let him describe that. But, with all the shootings going on, and it's unbelievable what's happening, especially with our youngsters and law enforcement officials, and perfect opportunity to get his insight. Orrin, welcome to the show, sir, and I'm glad to have you here.
Well, people are people, and people make mistakes, and no one's perfect. And the recent shooting in Tulsa, Oklahoma, is just a deal where a guy just made a mistake, and people are human, and you just
Tulsa, Oklahoma, I didn't report it on my news. Is this where the 73-year-old thought he had his stun gun and pulled his gun out and said, whoops, I made a mistake, I just shot that guy?
But it's people, the adrenaline is going, your heart is racing, you ain't been in, you probably hadn't been in training and stuff. I know when I was a state trooper, they made us, every year you go back and you got to train, and if you don't shoot enough, if you don't hit the target enough time, they take your gun away from you. So it's a lot of training involved, and people make mistakes. But I put a message out the other day on the internet: don't run from the police. Just turn, just don't run,
Yeah. Well, you say that, to their credit, the local police usually act pretty swift, and you say that young people who honestly believe the system is stacked against them and their future and their failure, not their success. Their failure, not their success, is guaranteed. What I want to make sure we do, Orrin, is get over these. You have what is called Orrin's Basics, and it's 10 ways to deal with police officers and citizens' interaction. Do you want to start with number 1, or you want to? I think number 10, you might say, is the most important. In my opinion, it is.
I'm not looking at my list because I just did that on the whim, just writing something.
I'll tell you what. I'll read it off, and I'll let you comment on each one of them.
I'll comment on what I.
All right. 10 ways to deal with police officers, and this is what Orrin is trying to teach his young people, especially young people, and. You call it a game of chess. Okay, we'll get to that. Number 1 is have faith.
Yeah, what that means is Pharaoh's army had everything. His army was well dressed. His army had plenty of bread. He had excellent transportation, but he still couldn't win in the end. So you just got to trust the process, and God sees all. So God is in charge, and just believe, have faith. And know that if you just do the right thing, if they beat you up or they treat you wrong, you just take it, and eventually you'll win in the end.
And you say trust a higher being. Number 2 is take the non-lethal approach. And this is for police departments, right?
Yeah, that's for them. You got to do the taser or pepper spray or whatever. You just got to. The guy thought he pulled his taser and he made a mistake, and just people make mistakes. People are human, so. That's part of the process.
Number 3 is be more sensitive. This is once again for police departments. Say that they must provide better sensitivity.
Yeah,
training.
you gotta have sensitivity. You gotta treat people like you want to be treated, and courtesy and respect. Because power is an illusion. People who think they have power, they really don't. And so you got to be humble, and you got to treat people with courtesy and respect, and you got to have sensitivity training where you can kind of relate to people that you're dealing with.
And this is for police department. When you were a state trooper, Orrin, did they have sensitivity training?
No, they didn't, because it was really not that big of an issue then. But nowadays you need it. But I worked in a predominantly white area. I think it was like 80% white and 20% black, and I hadn't have any problems because I know how to treat people like I want to be treated. Equally, and even though I was black, most people I thought was white, but I treated people with courtesy and respect, because whatever you put out comes back.
Now here's a very interesting one, perhaps one of my favorites. Number 4 is think Kenny Rogers.
Yeah, you got to know when to hold, you got to know when to fold. Sometimes you just got to let a person go. Let me give you an example. When the guy ran for the police officer, you got his driver's license, you got his car, you got to let it go. It's not worth it, because the guy could have came behind him in the car. They could have mapped the plan out. I'm going to run. He take off. You shoot him in the back. See, they could have set him up. So when the guy took off running, don't worry about it. You got his license. You got his car. You good. You don't need that now.
You know where he's going, yeah.
So you got to know when to hold, you got to know when to fold.
And you say you also need to know when to walk away and when to run.
Yeah, you got to know when to walk away and know when to run. Sometimes you got to...
Is there really, Orrin, is there really a time when you tell someone that's being arrested that it's time to run?
Not in that case. But there may be a situation where... you got a bad cop trying to kill you. You may want to run in a situation like that. But when the guy is shooting at somebody, even if the guy was armed, you're not allowed to shoot him. So not if he's running. Even if he's armed, he can be running with a machine gun in his hand. As long as he's running away from you, you just can't do it. But to stop somebody for a broken tail light, that's a little nitpicky there.
Me, I'll tell you, when I watch these police shows, I'm always commenting to people like, if you got a warrant out or if you don't have a driver's license or a suspended license or whatever it is, you just robbed a bank, don't be driving a car where one headlight is out or the windows are bashed up or something like that. I mean, you're right. Just asking, you might get away if you have a good cleaning car running. Yeah, go ahead.
And then they said a guy had did something, and the only reason they caught him, he was speeding. I'm like, wow, you just murdered somebody in another city, and you going to go through another town speeding? Are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought that was funny.
Now, number 5, this is encourage youth to respect authority. And you say that many police brutality cases often start because there are young ones being disrespectful to those who are in authority. And it seems like, to me, that's almost about 80% of the reason we're having these,
Yeah, escalate. A lot of stuff escalate, Like this guy the other day, he made these police chase him for 3 hours. So when they caught him, they beat him up. I mean, adrenaline going.
That's the guy that fell off the horse?
Yeah, your adrenaline's going, you pumped up, you mad, you've been chasing the guy for 3 hours. You just, this part of, human nature. You just, sometimes people hit people, they don't really mean it, but they ain't even thinking, and just bang, bang, it just happens so fast. So, you just gotta, you gotta be conscientious of what's going on, and you gotta, at the end of the day, you gotta treat people like it's you, because at the end of the day, we all are one. The word universe means one. We all are connected. Yeah. We all are one. And whatever you try to do for someone else, you're doing it to yourself. When that officer shot 8 times at that guy, he's shooting it at himself.
Well, the one with the 3-hour car chase, the horse chase, then even when the guy complies, that shows you how a bunch of...
they didn't want to hear it. Well, it's called groupthink. Groupthink means, here's how it works. Groupthink means you would do something that you normally wouldn't do when you're in a group. If you by yourself, he would have never done it. But because you're in a group, it's a wholly different mind thing. It's called groupthink. Groupthink is when you get a group of kids together, they walking down the street, they'll do something they never would have done if they'd been by themselves. And it creates problems. So that was a groupthink pile-on, and they all beat him up. I mean, they beat him. They beat the crap out of him.
Yeah, and they say, that's even worse than the Rodney King thing. Now, number 6 is love your neighbors. Love thy neighbors as you love yourself. And basically you're saying this means that we need to discern the difference between our fearful ego and our true self. We got about a minute here before the break. Let's talk about number 7, okay? Stop blaming others. Focus on the positive. Take that one.
Yeah, people go around blaming the government, taxes, prices, the white man. It's not about blame. It's about aim. So be true to yourself, make smart moves, help other people, and do no harm. If you do no harm, you will win in the end. But it's do no harm, treat everybody you meet like they're important, respect people, and you will win the game. So it's not about blame, it's about aim. And the key concept is to aim high.
All right, and number 8, we'll probably look at that one when we come back from the commercial. Consider the price. And we got 3 more to go, and I'm speaking with Orrin Hudson, former law enforcement officer, and he's founder of Be Someone Incorporated. It's besomeone.org, besomeone.org. We're going to cover the next 3 and also talk about his tour of the country, trying to stop some of this nonsense that's going on. Orrin Hudson, besomeone.org. We'll be right back.
Let me take just a moment or two, if I may, and talk about a great place to eat. That's right, for you folks anywhere in the eastern San Fernando Valley, drop into Bob's Big Boys. That's right, in Sun Valley at 8274 Sunland Boulevard. Now, everybody remembers the name Bob's. They're getting bigger and bigger every day. And little old Bob carrying the hamburger in his checkered overalls is the same Bob that you remember from back through the years. And, of course, if you want to go in for a great lunch, remember their classic burger, the original double-deck hamburger combination. Delicious 100% pure ground beef in 2 patties with American cheese, lettuce, and our famous Big Boy's special sauce. The name is Bob, and I think when you go in, you'll say, by golly, I'm sure glad that I found this restaurant because it's good for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. They've got all kinds of things, and all you have to do is remember. Bob's Big Boy in Sun Valley at 8274 Sunland Boulevard. It's a great place to eat.
Have you ever considered adding a home security system but thought it would be too expensive? Here's the good news. There's never been a more affordable time to help protect your home, valuables, and your loved ones. You can now get a $100 Visa card from Protect Your Home, your authorized ADT dealer, with the installation of a new ADT monitored system. Here's even better news. Your new system, worth $850, is free. You pay just a $99 installation charge and purchase monthly monitoring for less than $2 a day. Call Protect Your Home today at 1-866-669-8954. That's 1-866-669-8954. Get the peace of mind that comes with owning an ADT monitored system, plus a $100 Visa card from Protect Your Home. Call now, 1-866-669-8954. That's 1-866-669-8954. 36-month monitoring contract required. General terms and conditions apply. Visit protectyourhome.com/terms.
Geico Motorcycle presents Reflections from the Road.
Let me tell you, the road is a much more relaxing place since I switched to Geico Motorcycle Insurance and started saving money. With that taken care of, now I can think about deep, important things. Like how come it's a pair of pants when there's only one of them? A real brain teaser. But hey, at least saving money with Geico Motorcycle is as easy as pie. What does that mean, anyway?
Geico Motorcycle Insurance. See how much you could save.
Hi, this is Warren Eckstein. Get the jump on fleas before they get the jump on you. Cedarside Original from Cedarside.com is a must-have to eliminate fleas and ticks. Cedarside.com's products are made with 100% natural cedar oil and are safe for kids, pets, and adults. Cedarside's original organic bug spray repels and kills mosquitoes, fleas, ticks, flies, ear mites, mange, and more. Order some today. Go to Cedarside.com. Use coupon code Warren at checkout to get free shipping or call 800-842-1464 and mention my name, Warren Eckstein, Cedarside for people, pets, and premises.
Everybody's talking at me.
My guest, Orrin Hudson, former law enforcement officer, founder of Be Someone, and we're looking at 10 ways to deal with police officers and citizens' interaction, and perhaps really the most important one, number 8, consider the price. And we are talking about the price of losing a loved one.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta think, because I mean, the price is too high. Sometimes you just gotta, there's sometimes you may be in a police chase and you just gotta back off because it's just, the price is too high to be running in a residential area at 100 miles an hour behind somebody who just stole something from Walmart. Let it go.
Let the helicopter follow them. You know?
Yeah, let it go. It's not, it ain't worth it.
Too many innocent victims.
But here's why you want to back off, because you don't want him to, speed up. And if you back off and you're not behind you, it makes him slow down, and it keeps him from cutting the fool. There was a guy.
Now, number 9, want to make sure we get these in. Number 9 is think nonviolent, and this especially applies to police officers. Be cool and calm, and live in the present. Absolutely, and we kind of touched on that a little bit. Let's get to number 10. Stop being controlled by the media. The Walter Scott family actually sent a message to Al Sharpton, and the father said, "We don't want you coming here. We don't want you to turn this into a Ferguson, Missouri." And then Al says, "Okay, well, I had other plans anyway." But then I think I just saw the day after, he says, "I'm going down there."
Well, people just train hoppers. They drop on the train and try to make stuff, make a mountain out of a molehill. But the bottom line is the officer made a mistake. Bless his heart. I pray for the family on both sides, because at the end of the day, the officer didn't want to do that. He just got caught up. And sometimes you do stuff you regret later, and you realize, oh man, what have I just done? It just happened fast.
Yeah, I thought about it, Orrin, and I'm probably way off, but I'm thinking that officer, like, I dare you run from me. Don't you know I'm a police officer and I've got a gun? And then he starts shooting. And
but power
then
is
he,
illusion.
I guess,
power is an
plants
illusion.
the evidence.
You realize that.
Yeah. I guess he was planting evidence, too.
I was telling my son the other day, I said, son, if that was you and you did that, you dead wrong. You can't do that. I said, don't mistreat people because of their color or whatever, because whatever you do to someone else is going to come back to you. You got to be humble. You got to be respectful. You got to realize that human life matters. And, whatever you try to do for someone else is going to backfire on you. The Chinese have a proverb, and it says, before you seek revenge on someone, dig 2 graves, because you're killing yourself, too.
Hey, listen, we have run out of time, Orrin, and I know you're doing this tour. If people want you to come to their organization or their school or police department or whatever, parents want to contact you, should they go to your website? Is that the best place to do it?
BeSomeone.org, www.besomeone.org, and my email is orrin@besomeone.org. My email is orrin@besomeone.org, orrin@besomeone.org.
BeSomeone.org, all right, and they can contact you, and you're doing a great job. I appreciate you coming on the show, sir.
My message is heads up, pants up, grades up, and the big one, never give up.
Pants up.
Get your head up, get your pants up, get your grades up, and the big one, never give up.
Fantastic. Hey, we'll get together again, okay?
Thank you.
Get an update from you. Thank you. Orrin Hudson, former law enforcement officer and founder of Be Someone, besomeone.org. Alex Newman, he's coming up next.
Around the CRN studios, we pride ourselves on being the station of every situation. You can always listen live through your local cable TV provider, as well as on our website at crntalk.com. But with TuneIn